Hey there. Welcome back to the Golfweek Amateur Tour of the podcast. Chris, should we tell people how to join the tour?
Of course. Whether you're a seasoned member or just tuning in to learn more, we're here to help you dive into the ins and outs of the tour. If you've been on the fence about joining, there's no better time than now. It's a fantastic way to play competitive golf, meet other passionate golfers, and step up your game.
Registration is open. All you need to do is go to amateurgolftour.net, click Join the Tour button, and pay your local tour's membership dues.
And if you want to keep up with all things Golfweek Amateur Tour, make sure you're subscribed and listening to the podcast on your favorite platform. Don't forget to download each episode, share it with your golf buddies, and if you're enjoying the show, drop us a like and a review. Your feedback helps us grow the community and reach more golfers just like you. Thanks for tuning in. Now let's get into today's episode.
Welcome back, Chris, to the post-Mother's Day, still Military Appreciation Month episode of
Come on.
podcast. Yeah. We got a lot going on, man.
We do. It's picking up steam, and this month has been fun. I can't wait to hear the stories today, but we're already halfway through May, man.
I know. It's craziness. It's absolute craziness. Hey, we got two really good guests. I'm looking forward to talking to both of them, but there's so much going on, across the country with golf. There's so much going on with some other things. I do have the Stu shirt with us tonight, so we can show that off. We still got to come up with a contest, but we do want to show that off. Man, I don't know if you knew this, but it was JR's birthday a couple days ago. So
I didn't.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, JR. Happy belated birthday.
Yeah. Found out and make sure I put something on the Facebook page, but dude, there's just so much going on.
Right. No, I agree. There's a lot going on in my life too, and this month's gonna go by before we even know it.
I know. And you got a family trip coming up here in July. That's
Yep.
I got a feeling that's going to come up here in one of these interviews tonight. But oh my goodness.
Well, let's just get this show on the road. I'm pretty sure everyone's excited.
Yeah, where'd the first quarter of the year ago, man? Seriously, it's the middle of May.
All I know is I've been stuck in the 90s, and that's not the year. That's my score. So I'm trying to not think of those 6 months, but we'll get through it.
Yeah, we will. Well, everybody stick with us. We got a really good episode, two really good guests. We're going to announce the April Tour Member of the Month, and lots of good stuff going on, guys.
Yeah,
let's get
going.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Golfweek Amateur Tour proudly presents Golfweek Amateur Tour, the podcast, talking about all things Golfweek Amateur Tour, including interviews with tour directors, players, and course professionals. Now here are your hosts, Tim Newman and El Paso Las Cruces Tour Director, Chris Rocha.
Welcome back, Chris. Hope you took care of Diane on Mother's Day.
Yep, did. I hope you did the same with Miss Newman.
I did, but it wasn't actually on Mother's Day. We did stuff on Saturday. I did take her out to breakfast on Sunday, but I had a bunch of work stuff that I had to do on actual Mother's Day. But I just wanted to make sure that from at least that perspective, we're not going to hell. So happy Mother's Day to everybody, to all the moms out there. Hope you all enjoyed it and you were well taken care of.
Yeah, definitely. We did it before and we did it after, so I think we're good.
We're good for this year, for that.
We've caught up at least.
Oh boy. Well, we got lots of stuff going on. We got two really good guests, to round out Military Appreciation Month. You're gonna love them. Really good stories. We're gonna announce the April member of the month. We'll get him on the next episode. But Chris, we had 12.
Yeah,
They were solid.
they were very solid. It was a good turnout, and competition is only getting stiffer as we keep going. So
That's what she said.
hey, settle down. I thought it in my mind as soon as I said it, but you're the one who let the cat out of the bag.
Well, it's funny. Yeah, you were on here when we were just talking to our first guest, and I said it up to about 9 years ago. I thought myself as a little kid, and guess what? I guess I still am. I mean,
Right.
it is.
I think
it
we
is
all
what
are
it
a
is.
little bit.
All right. So, but yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, but let's just get right into this. Our first guest, I'm gonna let him tell the story, his stories, but he served in 2 branches, 20 years, retired, and he accomplished something in a tournament a few weeks ago. It's really pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
I can't wait.
let's go ahead and bring in our first guest, Jamal Garrett from the Tidewater Tour. Jamal, welcome to the show, bud.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh, no worries. As you heard, and what we talked about before we came on, you've got a great story. 2 branches. So you were Marines for 8 years and Navy for 12 years.
Yes.
Dude, thank you so much for your service. And I think there's more people out there that are doing 2 branches than people think about.
I think there was. I really only did it because when I did my first 8 years, I had got orders that I didn't like. So
Okay.
to make a long story short, I got orders I didn't like. So the Marine recruiter told me, "Hey, you either take these orders or you get out." And so I just got out.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
See?
Because it was after my second combat tour, so I was like, nah, I can't go to a third one, not back to back to back.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's tough.
So
Yeah.
where are you from?
I am originally from Birmingham, Alabama,
Okay.
as you can see.
As I can say, yeah, I wasn't going to bring it up. But that's all right. That's all right.
Uh,
So
Hey,
how did
settle down.
how did the military come about for you? Were you just graduate high school and then just go right in?
I did. I played sports and everything growing up, and a couple injuries derailed all that. So I ended up talking to a Marine recruiter my junior year, and I just kind of signed up for the delayed entry program and just went from
Mhm.
there. My uncle was always in the Army. He was the Army. He just retired,
Okay.
Army Sergeant Major, and he was always trying to get me to come to the Army, but we kind of had like a thing back and forth between me and him who was better. So
Yeah, we already know. We don't even have to get into it. So I mean, we're good.
but yeah, it just kind of went from there. I always liked it. Grew up in a military family, like a bunch of my uncles and my dad,
Okay.
everybody was in the military. So just kind of fell in line with it.
That's awesome. The whole idea. I mean, coming from a military family, people who don't have military members in their family don't truly understand what that means. Um, you know, so I come from a military family now. I only served a little bit of years, but my father was in, my grandfather was in, my wife's grandparents were in, my brother is retired, and that causes a lot of stress, on the extended family, spouses, children, those types of things. And I think a lot of times that we forget about those, the other people that serve but aren't in uniform.
Yeah, we got lucky. My dad had gotten out like years before I was even in the picture, so he
Mhm.
only did like his first few enlistments, and he got out. But just doing like I said, my uncle, I just see the stress and everything that it had on his family. But like we all kind of bonded together and just
Mhm.
helped each other out whenever we needed to. And he'd always come home and we'd always have like get-togethers and everything. Just try to reinforce like we know what you're doing, you know, you're out serving and everything, so we kinda
Mhm.
hold it down for you while you're gone.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what you gotta do, and that's you kinda learn that behavior, um, really kind of as you're growing up, taking care of each other and taking care of, not only your family, but maybe somebody else's family as well.
Yep, it definitely did all that. It was tight-knit community
Absolutely.
with everybody that's in the military.
So let's start with your military service. What was your MOS and what were you doing? And give us some of the good memories.
So, starting in the Marines, it was a good memory, so, I was, the first. I had 2 MOSs. I was 0311 and 0151. 0311 is basically just infantry. 0151 is administrative, paper pusher pretty much. So I did both of those, and I was always with the, infantry units I was stationed out in Hawaii, out of Kaneohe Bay. And some of the good memories was, like, even though the deployment sucked, just some of the places we went, uh, so it's, like, hands down my best place that I ever went to was Australia, Sydney, Australia.
Wow.
Wow.
Loved it. That was that was the one place, like, if you ever thought about, like, not coming back home, it was probably the place.
How long were you there for?
We were there for about 5 days,
Okay.
but
That's
it
so
was a lot
cool.
of fun. Probably the worst was probably being out in, Mount Fuji, Japan.
Huh.
For one, the only reason it was the worst is because 1, it was dead of winter,
Oh.
and so it's super cold,
Yeah.
and then we went back for some kinda training, like, with the Japanese Army and stuff, and we had to sleep in the field, and so, they got the habu snakes out there, so they come around and they're like, "Hey, just be careful at night when you gotta get up and go to the bathroom or something where you're sleeping, because these snakes might slither up in your sleeping bag or something." Yeah, I slept on top of the Humvees after that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
No,
when they
we're not doing that, Jamal. We're done.
Nope.
We're not
Nah,
doing that.
nah, not at all, not at all.
There's only so much I can take, you know, and snakes is not one of them. But I've slept outside in the cold and in these sleeping bags and in these makeshift tents and all this other stuff. That's one thing. But you start bringing snakes around, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah,
We're not doing that.
terrified of snakes, hate them.
Yep. Yeah.
And they're sneaky too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you don't know they're there until it's too late.
yep, they've already got a hold of you by the time you know they're there.
Oh my goodness. So tell me about living in Hawaii, though. I mean, I've been to Hawaii a couple times. It's fun. I mean, but living there, my goodness, could Chris, Chris, you would love it. I mean, the weather's
Well,
nice.
I'm going in July, so I can't wait.
You definitely have to go to a luau while you're out there.
We will. I think we have that planned, and I'm trying to play Royal Hawaiian, which is
Okay.
apparently very beautiful. So we'll see.
It is definitely very beautiful. I loved every minute that I was out there when we were actually there and not out,
Yeah.
like, training or deployed. But it's super expensive, and
Yeah.
I'm sure it's probably, like, 10 times as expensive now, but it's beautiful out there. I loved it.
So when you were living out there, did you get a cost of living bump or was it you just got your normal
Oh, yeah.
pay?
You definitely got a cost of living bump
Okay.
out there.
Yeah, I don't know how you would. I don't know how
Definitely.
you would live. Right.
Nobody would be able to survive out there if they didn't.
Right. Right.
It was, I think for BAH was, like, almost 3 grand almost
Oh my
out
God.
there
That's
at
crazy.
that time.
That's crazy.
I
So
loved every minute, though.
so how about your Navy service?
I was an electronics technician, and I got out of the Marines in 2008. I got out for 2 years. I came in June of 2010, and I was the electronics technician, And I've been here in Virginia my whole time that I was
Okay.
out here, that
Wow.
I was in the Navy. And I've been on a place called Nick Tam's Land. It's like a little communication center, like a little
Okay.
hub where all the communications go through. And then I was on the George H.W. Bush aircraft carrier.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And then I worked at the schoolhouse on Norfolk Naval Base. And then I retired, and now I work back there as a contractor, doing teaching navigation equipment and communications equipment.
That's awesome. You know, I think that's kind of a hidden gem. You know, when you retire and then you get hired by you know, get a GS job.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean everything. Not that everything's gravy, but I mean, I mean you're doing all right because you're gonna,
Definitely.
you know. So,
Less
you know,
stress and more pay.
yeah, exactly. But my brother's the same way, and you know, this is I haven't convinced him yet, but so he retired a few years ago. He's got a government job, GS job. I think he reports to the general at Fort Polk, and like he's his liaison or something. I don't know what he does, but anyway, he he's got like 150 days of leave saved up, right? And we're supposed to go on vacation together with family. And he says, "Well, I'm not coming." It's like I'm getting there on Friday, and he says, "Well, I'm not coming till Monday because I don't want to take that extra couple days of leave." I said, "Dude, what what are you what are you doing? What are you doing?"
What is he saving them for?
I don't know. I said, "Dude, he's gonna retire fully here. I think in like 2 or 3 years." I said, "You know, but you're not gonna lose. I mean, you're not gonna miss 2 days. I mean,
No.
seriously, just take the 2 days off, dude." My God.
150 days, and you're worried about 2? Oh,
2.
yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm like, "Come on, man." So, but yeah, I mean, it's like he says, a lot less stress, you know, and but, he sort of won't take any time off. But that's also you know, part of the mentality that, you know, a lot of us have in that. But, you know, at some point, you know, as much time as you served, it's okay to relax a little bit. It really is.
You have to. That's the only way you
Yeah.
keep your sanity.
Exactly. Exactly. So, now you did something special here. It was at Kingsmill in March. You got a hole in one in a
Yep.
in a tournament. Tell us about it.
So we were coming up to our last hole, and it was 17 on up there at that course. And you know, 17 is the hole with like it's like right on the it's the one that's right on the water, and it's where the ships and everything came in. So they got the
Uh-huh.
plaques and everything out there. And one of my buddies, this was his first tour event that he played in. So we were together and we were talking about it. And we were walking up and we were talking about like, this is it, you know, just don't even worry about nothing. Just try not to hit it in the water. That's all you got to worry about. And so we was like getting the distance and stuff. And it was like, it's about 180, 183. So I was like, I'm gonna play my 185 club. Or 155, I'm sorry, 155. So I go back to the cart, and the guy that was up there, he tees off and everything. And I'm walking back up, and it was like, "What are you gonna hit?" And I was like, "I'm gonna just hit a little soft 8-iron." So the way the hole is, it's a flat, undulated surface, but off to the left side, you got a hill, and it just slopes down right into it, and it kind of like funnels down wherever the flag is at. So as long as you hit that side of the hill, it kind of rolls down and you're good, unless you hit like the front side.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm gonna just hit the top, try to hit the top of the hill, like right where the green and the grass meet, and just let it kind of like roll down. It'll put me like maybe 15, 20 feet from the pin, 2 putt for a par, and go home. Get up, I hit it, and we're all watching, and it hits the side of the hill exactly where the green and the fringe meet, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's gonna be pretty good. And my buddy taps me, he's like, "Hey, man, nah, it's still rolling." I was like, "It's still rolling?" They're like, "Yeah, it's rolling towards it looks like it's rolling towards the pin." And I'm like, "Oh, that's gonna be great." So we're standing there watching it, and then it just disappears, and I'm like I look at him, and he
Oh,
looks at
man.
me, He's like, "Did that go in?" I'm like, "I don't know, bro. I think it did." And like one of the other dudes that's with us, there's some guys up on the hill and they start clapping, and we're like, "Oh snap! It went in." So we went from like three ranges of emotion, like, is this true? Confusion, like, is it true? To happiness, to scared. The reason it went to happiness because obviously it went in
Right.
when we saw it disappeared. The scared is because the water's right here on the right. I threw my club up in the air,
Oh.
and so I'm like, "Oh, oh no, my club is gone." But it didn't land in the water. It landed, like, right on the side of the hill.
Oh,
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. My first one ever,
dude, that's awesome.
and people still talk about it, and they're like, it was awesome. It was an awesome moment.
Well, you could be talking about that forever, and, you had, my buddy, Thompson Sawyer was in your group, saw that,
Yes.
he's such a good guy, um, it must have been fun to play with, but when did you play golf when you were in the military, or was it something that you picked up after you got out?
It was something I played a little bit while I
Mhm.
was in. I really started playing, uh, probably when I got here in Virginia, like around 2011. Because I got
Okay,
a couple buddies, on the tour with me, Kevin Byers, Tim
okay,
Sells, and, another buddy, Ed Sicko. I met them. They were the first group of guys that I met while I was out here, and they kinda got me into it.
okay.
And my buddy Kevin and Tim told me, like, "Yeah, you should probably play pretty you could probably take it serious and start playing for real." And I was like, "Nah, man." They talked it up to me and everything, and so, like, I've I've gotten better over the last 3-ish years, like, from where I was at to where I am now,
Mhm.
and it's been pretty fun.
Yeah, it is. What would you say is probably outs and you can't say hole in one's your best memory now, because
Right.
we already talked about that. What's your best memory about playing golf on tour? Because, you guys have Tidewater's got I would say probably one of the best, tours and tour directors, in the country.
Yeah, so Lyle, speaking of Lyle, this is the one, this bottom one right here is the one that he had made for me. Him and another guy on tour, Mike Hale, they both found out that I had the hole in one, so they bought the flag and made it up for me. And the one that's on top of it is the one that the course actually sent me.
Dude, that's awesome.
So
Nice.
Lyle, the the best part, the best memory was me and Lyle were talking trash, and I told him I was gonna win the Stonehouse course last year. And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, whatever. Yeah, there's a bunch of good guys out there, so it was gonna be tough." So I ended up winning the it was a 2-day tournament. I ended up winning it that day. So I get bumped up to C flight this year, and I told her, I was like, "Yeah, this is my course. I love this course. Stonehouse is my course. It's always the best that I always play the best there." And I ended up finishing in second place. I lost by one stroke. The guy that
Oh,
beat me shot at 86. I shot
oh,
at
man.
87.
Wow.
So that's winning. I won a couple of tournaments. So those are probably the best ones. But Stonehouse is probably my favorite.
Dude, that's awesome. Number 1, I I I think winning a tournament is obviously awesome, but, moving up a flight and competing right away, that's also gotta be a really good feeling because not only are you getting better, but, a lot of times when people say, "Well, I'm getting moved up, I can't compete." Well, you can compete, you just have to change that mindset a little bit.
It definitely is. Uh, a lot of guys just it's like I said, a few of the guys on the tour, they actually like talk to me a lot and help me out with a lot of stuff. And they always tell me, "Hey man, just go out and play your game one swing at a time. Once that swing is over, move on to the next one. There's nothing you can do about it now." So they
Yeah.
kind of keep me level headed. And they always tell me when I talk to them, they're like, "You'll be fine. The way you play, you'll be all right. You never know. Everything might click for you and you shoot a 77 again. And this will be the day you get bumped up to B flight now after one of the wins. So just go with it."
Tell 'em to
It
calm down a little
happens.
bit.
It
It can
does.
happen, but calm down, we don't wanna make too big of a
No,
jump.
no, 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 definitely not, definitely not. But it's a great time. Lao runs a great tour, and we got the DC one coming up next. So
Yeah.
if he's listening, I'm gonna win that one too. So
Oh,
Uh-oh. So we made a deal with somebody from the Louisiana tour earlier in the year. I said, if you win 3 in a row, you get a regular segment. So just keep that in mind.
you got to win 3 in a row.
You got to win 3 in a row, you get a regular segment.
Okay. I'll Are we talking like on tour? We talking like Tiger Woods golf on PlayStation?
No,
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 no, no, no.
There's a
I
lot of
I
good
almost had one of
competition
my
out there.
players do that,
Oh,
and he was
it's
he was
tough.
real bummed when he got second place.
See, it's got to be 3 in a row. Got to be 3 in a row. So what regionals are you going to do this year?
What?
Which regionals are you going to do this year? I know you generally go to 1 or 2 a year. Which ones are you doing this year?
Well, we're doing the one in Blacksburg, the
Oh, yeah,
Virginia
yeah.
Tech one,
Mhm.
and we usually try to travel for one, me and my buddies, and we're going down to Fripp Island. We're
Okay.
doing that one, and then we're doing another one local, another one. I forgot which one it was. I've signed up for all of our tours, everything.
Okay.
So I don't even. There's so many different ones I can't even remember which one it is.
Yeah, well, you don't miss a tournament. I mean, you've been on tour since 2023, and you've got 62 rounds.
Yeah,
Wow.
I try to
You-
make every one of them.
Doesn't miss. How about that?
It's a lot of fun and a lot of money. Thank God for the retirement.
Exactly. Thank God. So you can't take any days off. You got to make sure you.
Yep.
Oh man,
It's a lot of fun though. Meet a lot of good people.
It really is. Well, Jamal, thank you so much for your service. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Thank you for joining us tonight and spend some time with us, and good luck this weekend and beating all those DC guys.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all having me on.
All right, bud.
Hey Jamal, just real quick. All right.
Oh, hey, we're still 1-1 right now, so I guess this in another year, that's when the tiebreaker happens.
Let's do it. I'm excited.
We'll make a bet when it comes around.
Hey, you know where to find me.
Oh God, I got you. I got you.
All right, bud.
All right, bud.
Yeah, y'all have a good one.
Take care. Let's take a break from the show to hear about Srixon's ZX Mark II drivers.
ZX Mark II drivers are for major players, major winners, major power. All new ZX Mark II drivers, only from Srixon.
Tim, well, dude, great conversation with Jamal. It's cool to have guys hit hole-in-ones. I mean, I've been close before, but to do it in a tournament, specifically for him, his last hole,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Now, I didn't get to ask him, but he did mention how scared he was, because he thought he lost his club. I would have been more scared of how big that bar tab is gonna be than losing the club, because it might have been more than the actual replacement of that club.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's where I thought he was going with it.
Right.
Because that was a pretty big tournament there, and
I mean, but
But-
it bears the question, just like where did it come first, the chicken or the egg? Do you pay for everybody at the tournament or just your group? So, that question is yet to be solved.
well, if it's me, I'll take care of everybody. Might as well. Let's have a good time.
That's a big bar tab.
That's all right. I mean, he probably wanted
If
a good
if he
good bit of
played
money.
if he played them.
He played. He did. He did. We're just going to go with that. We know that he did, and he played.
Okay. I would take your word on that one.
But the other thing with him, I mean, Marines for 8 years, Navy for 12 years. God bless him, brother.
Right.
It
That's awesome.
is. He seemed a little disappointed that he didn't go anywhere for his Navy career, just stay right there in the Norfolk area. But you know,
I'd have been okay with
do,
that.
yeah, doing the good work. I mean, served on a couple of really good ships. Um, now he's got the opportunity to stay there and teach.
Right.
So,
And just
good
and
for him.
relax, kind of.
Yeah, yeah. So, and it keeps him in that area to be able to stay on the tour, with his buddies and lie on the Tidewater tour. Tidewater's got a ton of military with him, just like DC, uh, just like Eastern North Carolina. Like I told you before, up and down the East Coast, lots of military members on tour.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I would assume a bunch of bases are. I mean, I'm not real familiar with it, but it seems like we usually get a lot of guys from the East Coast that I want to
Yeah,
get on our podcast.
yeah. I think they just want to talk to you.
Probably.
Probably. That's it. Well, well, our next guest, I've known him for a long time. When I first met him, he told me he was going to retire, and then next year he said he was going to retire, and then the next year he said he was going to retire, and then the next year he said he was going to retire. Finally, he retired, so I'm glad he did that, and 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 now he's dealing with farm animals. But let's go ahead and welcome in our next guest. The senior DC tour director, Dave Phillips. Dave, welcome to the show, bud.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
you had an eventful evening. Chasing
Already
snakes.
eventful. Just when you think work can't be any more hectic, you find out there's other stuff that happens when you're not around.
I understand.
And now I get to deal with what she dealt with.
There you go.
Well, you would rather be doing that than doing what you were doing. Don't lie. Don't
It's
lie.
a mixed bag. I still have a dedication to achieving mission. It's one of those things that never goes away
No, it
once you did military.
Yeah. So how long were you're an Air Force veteran? How long were you in the Air Force?
I actually had 4 years at the academy, plus 26 years, 7 months as active. On top
Bless
of
you.
that,
And
Wow.
what'd you retire as
an Air Force colonel.
God bless you, brother. Thank you so much. And I think you're the first person we've had on that was Air Force Academy graduate.
Yay.
No, that's
Go blue.
but I think people don't truly understand, what it takes, number one, to be able to get into the academy, any academy, whether it's the Air Force, whether it's, Naval Academy or West Point. It's not
Yeah,
just, you just go in. I mean,
I tried the first year right out of high school and tried it on my own, did not get in. I ended up going the first year to Boston University and had to pay for that and did ROTC for a year.
Mhm.
But college is expensive and didn't have the money and the loan kind of structure. So I applied this time because of where I worked was at Sperry Univac. They were a defense contractor for the Navy, of all things.
Okay.
And I worked for them and went to the local plant president and the ops manager because my dad had worked there before he passed away. And so they all kind of had taken me under their wings when I was in high school working there and said, all right, we're going to write the letters of recommendation. Turns out the plant manager turned around and called the senator and was like, hey, can you help us out? Is there a shot?
Mhm.
And next thing you know, I flew back from Boston for the interview and met a few people during the interview. And it turns out there were like 4 of us in that waiting room. And it was the 4 of us that actually went in that year together because
Oh,
they
wow.
screened the records and everything else. And it's like, okay, Terry, Lee, Travis, all those. And it's just like, wow. And you see them there freshman year and you remember who they were.
Mhm.
And then you get to do all 4 years at the zoo. You don't get a free pass and do only 3 years. It's like they make sure you get the grist mill.
Yeah, I'm sure. So you got that bonus year at Boston
Extra.
University. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's awesome. So what was your MOS? What was your job?
I was in the communications electronics
Okay.
when I came in, and being at the academy, First thing I did when I graduated, hey, here's my dream sheet. I'm ready to go anywhere in the world. Send me remote, whatever. And they sent me 20 miles down the road in the same city. So I was just like, seriously, you guys are going to do this to me? I'm like, I wanted to go see the world, and I got sent down the road. So, but it was a good 4 years because it was a good learning experience.
Right.
And I did the base level unit. And after the 3 years, okay, I needed to do something else. And I got into the headquarters because one of my jobs was helping move the headquarters that was off base onto the base in their new building, the Air Force Space Command at the time. And we affectionately named the building Space Catraz at the time. So that was kind of fun. And because you go in and it looked like one of those movies, with
Right.
either Jean-Claude Van Damme or Jason Statham, and you see all these railings and offices, and you look in and feel like throwing somebody over the railing. No, it was actually good, but volunteered from there. I ended up overseas after that because they're like, okay, short notice assignments. Where do you want to go? Do you want to go here? And I'm like, I don't even know where that is. Can I call you back? It's like, well, you have until 4:00 today to decide. So,
And it's 3:50. So
and actually it was 2:00, but, but I ended up looking it up and it turned out to go to Holland.
oh wow.
So I ended up in Holland, the Netherlands, because they're like Soesterberg, the Netherlands. I'm like, I don't even know what that is because Americans, we call it Holland.
Right.
Dutch call it the Netherlands, Nederland. So you're just like, okay. So it's interesting things you learn along your career. And then went over there, did a bunch of different stuff, and met my future wife there. Even though they did a base closure on us, I scrambled and ended up going to Japan, but I wasn't sure if I was ready to marry. And so I left, but she's like, okay, you're not getting away. She bought a ticket from Holland to Japan, said, I'm going to come visit you.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
She did. That was the longest fishing pole I've ever seen.
Well, it worked. It worked.
It worked.
That's awesome, man. So where'd you go after Japan? Back home?
Did 2 years there. I actually didn't finish my master's at Japan. And so they had this thing called Daedalus, which is your assignment system. And I'm like, okay, I applied to all these jobs, and I applied like 26 jobs in the volunteer system, if you will.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I called headquarters Pacific Air Forces. What am I doing wrong? I'm supposed to go to a major command next. What is it? And he's like, he called up, I'll get back with you. 2 weeks later, he's like, okay, you're coming here to Hawaii. I'm like, well, I wasn't trying to go to Hawaii. I've already been overseas twice now. I need to go back to the state. He's like, no, you're coming here. The assignment people were doing some shady stuff, so you're coming to Hawaii. I get to Hawaii. He retired 2 weeks prior. And I was like, wow, that was
Wow.
sweet.
Yeah,
And
that's
so it was kind of cool. 3 years roaming the island, 30 miles around in a circle. It's fun, especially when you can go, being in the Pacific Air Force, you get to travel back to Japan, Korea. You also get to go back to DC and other headquarters offices to pitch ideas for the command. So I was either going 5-hour time zone east or 5-hour time zone west.
wow.
Wow.
And it was just like, and when you had to do it in back-to-back weeks, you had no clue what time zone you were in.
Good
But it was a
God.
great assignment because we had a great bunch of guys there at the time. And even to this day, I'm still friends with some of them because all roads from there led to DC when I ended
Right.
up on staff there. And some of the people that were in Hawaii are actually here in DC area still.
Yeah,
And that
I kind
fish
of
rods.
I kind of figured that would happen. I mean, if you're flying into DC all the time, you're making those connections, and it's my guess is it was a relatively easy transition.
Somewhat. I mean, everywhere I kept moving to kept getting more and more expensive. So it's like, okay, on base in Japan, not too bad. Hawaii,
Right.
a little bit more expensive. I mean, milk,
Yeah.
$5 a gallon back in the late 90s. And you're like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then you turn around and get to come to DC and it kept going up. So after that, it was like, where do I go? So I did a joint organization. Then I did joint staff after that. So I did 3 years there because General Kroon pulled me up And then I'm like, okay, boss, where do I go? He's like, well, you need to go back to another major command. I'm like, okay, you need to go here. And you may or may not make colonel after reading the records, because the higher you climb, the harder it is.
Right.
And sometimes it's being in the right place at the right time. It's not necessarily that you're a bad person, but they only have so many slots.
Right.
Right.
And I ended up going from there back to Scott Air Force Base, which is outside of St. Louis. And I was there for like 10 months, and they had a no-notice command slot that popped open. And I went to Colonel Matthews, the command lead for comm, and was like, okay, should I take this command job? Because it's outside the communications career field, running a military entrance processing station.
Okay.
So everybody that recruiters bring in,
That's where
these
you go
guys
through.
vet them.
Mhm.
And so I was like, what do you think? And he's like, well, my dad was the Phoenix MEPS commander back in the day. So if you want it, I think you should go for it. So I only spent 11 months in Illinois and went to LA for the next 3 years and 2 months. And it turned out it was the largest MEPS in the US.
Wow.
And had all sorts of headaches. But we ended up getting recognition and ran into a few investigations that I stumbled onto some irregularities, and they're like, okay, next thing you know, CID is visiting and arresting recruiters for some shady business. But
Oh, wow.
turns out the Army recruiting commander for the whole entire U.S., the general there happened to be the general that I worked for when I was in the joint organization in the National Military Command Center.
What's that?
And it was just like, because it's weird. You never know who you cross paths with
Right.
again. I mean,
Right.
so you never, rule number one, never burn a bridge.
Exactly.
Right.
Ever. Because it will come back to haunt you and bite you sometimes. But he was there, and the stuff that I'd stumbled on, he decided to have all his battalion commanders in the local area, because they had fired the local battalion commander on the stuff I found out. And the replacement guy, he and I started working together, and they brought me in, and I just stayed in the back of the room, and he called me out in the middle of all the battalion guys saying, hey, do like what Wolf is doing, along with the battalion CO there. That's how you got to do it. You got to team up. You got to work together. You cannot have friction, because we all have a job to get done, and the country needs us.
Yeah.
So we did that. I mean, MEPS went the way we were running it, because it was hard recruiting days
Mhm.
during the time I was there. I was in at 5:30 in the morning, and I wouldn't leave till 11 o'clock at night.
So
Wow.
when was this?
This was 2005, 2008.
Wow. Okay.
And they had to do mission month days because they were still behind. So there were 2 weeks where we were doing 6 days a week. I mean, doing it Saturday as well, because
Right.
we just swamped. And even the Marines were having a really hard time. There was one Marine unit that was trying to get mission, and they had their last kid, but I had sent all my doctors home, and I called up Spokane. I'm like, hey, Yolanda, can you has this guy come through your line? So the Marines put him on a plane, got him up there, got him through their dock, so they can make what they call mission month. They have a certain quota they got to make. And Yolanda helped them make 108 mission months straight.
Wow.
Wow.
Otherwise, that streak would have been broken. And this CO, he pulled out all the stops. He was bringing them all through the board. And the docs, I mean, my docs had the integrity. He's like, sorry, you're not qualified. We can't put you through.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were bringing everybody. They needed X amount that were qualified. And they're like, they're throwing the kitchen sink almost, what would stick. And they finally got the last one up to Spokane, and he passed, and they made the mission. And their Marine general came out and did personal handshakes to everybody that helped out on that process. And I ran into him when I went back to Joint Staff the next time. And he was a 3-star at that point in time. It was kind of weird sitting next to him again in one of the meetings.
That's crazy.
So-
But 108 mission months in a row. That's 9 years.
Yeah.
That's
They-
amazing.
Orange County is in that little nexus between Camp Pendleton and
Mhm.
LA.
Right.
So there's a lot of former military,
Mhm.
dependents of military that kind of helps them get over that hump.
Right.
It also covers the Riverside Air Force Base, March Air Force Base that's over there, Temecula and things like that. So, and you go down to San Diego, which is a big Navy
Big,
town.
right. Mhm.
But San Diego had its own MEPS. And that was kind of the cool thing, being, even though I was LA and we were the largest, I also owned what we call a cluster commander. So I had Sacramento, San Jose, Phoenix, and San Diego under my command as well, as satellites, if you will, even though they
Wow.
were independent.
Mm.
So, but we coordinated, here's a new process, here's something new to try. We tested 26,000 kids a year in the high
Wow.
schools just to see if they could qualify. It was big stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure. My goodness.
So ended up from there, came back heading to Air Staff, but didn't get promoted at that point in time. So I was like, okay, once you don't make that first pass, sometimes that's it. But General Maluta let me jump into a special project program, and I went up, and the three-star assistant vice chief of staff picked me up and let me do this job. It was just a startup because we didn't have a chief of staff at that time because he got fired. And so everybody, the A3, A8, everybody at this peer level were fighting.
Right.
And so they needed this thing to coordinate things so that at least the vice chief could say things
Right.
with what we call one voice. And it was kind of cool. And after that, I got picked up and it was a surprise. I'm like, okay, hon, you ready to do another 3 years? Because she's like, you're still going? I'm like, you tell me.
Right.
And then I went to Joint Staff again, and that's where I ran into
Mhm.
Tryon and became a division chief. Got pulled up to the DOD Chief Information Office for 2 years. But then, again, Colonel's Group doesn't work like any normal assignment system. You go where they tell you, you do not talk to them.
Right.
You do not say boo. Otherwise, you get the worst assignment you could ever imagine. And I was doing a special project that the deputy CIO had started, and he called up the Colonel's Group for me and said, yes, I know you're going to talk to him about going to Germany again to go to Garmisch, which is a great spot. But it's like, I need him to finish this out. But the Colonel's Group said, okay, you get 1 free year. And then he has to move. I was like, okay, I'm good, but moving horses, kids, junior and senior in high school, and it was like, okay, let's retire. So I retired military at that point in time. And then I joined, it's like, okay, 90 days, leave, go back to contract, ended up with Booz Allen. Let's try the civilian commercial world, see if I can survive and succeed in that world. Well, the deputy CIO found out I worked for Booz Allen, and they, by name, requested me to come back as a contractor to work for them again. So I got stuck right back with the same shop that I left. And then I did 10 years of that before I finally pulled the plug here.
Yeah. Let's just put it this way. I was surprised, but not surprised. Because, you kept telling me you were going to retire. You kept telling me, this is it. This is really it this time. This is really it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you did, because, I mean, you've done so much. You've done all that you can do. It's somebody else's turn to step up and start.
It's
Start
tough
doing
to let go.
Yeah, it is.
When you've done it so long, I mean, even though I left 31 January, I mean, I still talk to, like, the last team I had as contract team, the gal that I brought back in, I knew her all the way back in 1980.
Jesus.
Wow, 89 is how far back I went with her. And I finally convinced her to come on the job. And she'd been with me over 1.5 years. And I'm like, okay, you need to do this. She's like, I don't know all the things you did because you know, the contracts and all that and the budget. But she is a great PM, project manager, and I let her run with that. I had a great satellite communications. So we had a great team, but then we're now in a budget shrink, and DISA had started having to cut back, but I'm still helping them. Okay, where do you need to go? Make connections for them to keep the team going, because that's rule number one.
Right.
Take care of your team.
Take care of your team. Yeah. Well, God bless you, man. I appreciate everything that you do, have done, and continue to do, because, you know, it's big responsibility, especially doing what you were doing. You know, a lot of times doing things that we don't even know about, that we don't want to know about, that have to be done. That have to be done.
And I'm still somewhat on the hook in the background, because the office has still called me 3 times now to try and get me to come back, because Congress approved money for the project that I drafted for the strategy for, and they dropped the money this year. So he's like, 1 October, you can come back and lead up a team to implement the $1 billion program. And I was like, but I don't like the commute here in DC.
No.
Commutes are a killer.
Yeah.
But all the systems we got to touch, you can't take it home.
Right.
You have to do it in the office.
Yeah. So what are you going to do?
I told them I could do part-time. I could do a couple hours a day if they're really serious, but I don't have to do all the legwork. I can be the orchestra conductor, because even to this day, he's a civilian 3-star equivalent right now.
Okay.
He calls me up, asks the question, and I can answer it still to this day, because I was one of the few people that knows it inside and out.
Right.
And there's only you can probably count them on one hand how many people knew all the material that we're doing across the department.
Yeah.
And so they need people that can connect A to B to C to D.
Right. No, and I think that's, you know, in a way it's good, because you've got control over a small group of people, but in a way it's not so good, because if something happens to somebody, right? Because I mean,
I didn't have a professor.
Right. That institutional knowledge. I mean, what do you do? And
all my files are in the cloud officially now,
so
on what we call the low side and the high side. Unfortunately, the 3 people I tried to groom to replace me, none of them wanted my job.
That's
They're like, we don't want to deal with the headaches you've been dealing with. I'm like, but that's what came with the job.
Right. That's what you have to do. And Dave, you know, it's just like anything else. There's good things about every job. There's bad things about every job. And, you know, you just have to deal with it. Right. I mean,
I've had bad bosses throughout my career. Thankfully, I've had better ones than bad ones. And all my promotions, even though I was Air Force, all my promotions came on the tail end of working in a joint environment, working for an Army person above me.
Yeah.
So luck of the draw.
Yeah.
I mean, I was commissioned by a Navy captain, and I was retired by an Army general.
How about that?
And I've had Air Force promotions in the middle.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You know, I don't know if you heard the last podcast, but Warren Hodges, in the Navy, one time when I think it was his second reenlistment, he was reenlisted in a building that was named after his grandfather.
Cool.
On a military base. I mean, you know, so there's a lot of these cool stories like that, and like what you're doing, you know, or what you did, and you know, the teamwork and being able to work with different people in different environments from different branches. It's so important. And you know, again, I think most people see or think that the Army is over here doing this, and the Navy's over here doing this, and the Air Force is over there doing that. There isn't ever really any mission where we're not all working together anyway.
Well, it's not even just the U.S.
Right.
I mean, when I was in Europe, I did a 6-month I guess you could temporary duty opening the Marshall Center in Garmisch, Germany back in the day, when all the NATO ministers of defense and 4 stars and the Warsaw Pact in the day with their ministers of defense and 4 stars came in for an official ending of the Cold War.
Wow.
And you're just come, hey, we need your help. We got to do some bilateral talks. So we need your help with translation stuff. So I got to had Secretary Aspen, I think Les Aspin, and the Russian Minister of Defense in a private session and meet them on the side to help them do their thing. And
Wow.
you get to learn to deal with protective services detail, all the things that aren't in your normal career field. You have to adapt.
You do. And that's everyday life. Let's talk about golf a little bit. I mean,
Oh,
oh no, here
my
we go.
handicap sucks right now.
So Dave, I've known you for at least 10 years, right? I mean, it's at least.
Yep, we're at 10 years.
And you've taken over or started the senior DC tour. This is your 3rd year?
Yeah. We started late on the 1st year, but we got rolling 2nd year and we're on the 3rd.
Yes, and things are going really well. I mean, you've got a good group.
I've got a good core group.
You do, which everybody needs. Every tour has, and every tour needs to be able to grow. And the number one, DC market's tough.
It is. Prices have gone haywire this year.
Haywire, yeah.
I mean, Whiskey Creek, I couldn't even get on Whiskey Creek because they wouldn't give me before 2 p.m. and they wanted $160 at 2 p.m.
Jeez.
Yeah, and that's before you do.
And that's before adding anything else to it.
Right.
So I was just like, I'm hunting around, but they like it because, like what you and Jen originally did, the core group we have, they enjoy finishing the round. A lot of people aren't just leaving right after the round.
Right.
We hang around and there's crosstalk. I mean, this last Saturday, I was golfing with John Smith and Ken Jones, 2 guys from A-Flight. And because sometimes we don't have enough, I'm mixing B and C.
Right.
And they learn each other and they sit down and talk about the game, talk about the course and other things in life.
Right.
And they like the family atmosphere again.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. And we're pulling up new courses that they've never heard of, never played before. And they're like, hey, and even though I think the majority of them didn't play as well as they thought or hoped, they want to put it back on the schedule again next year.
Yeah. So you're talking about Sly Fox, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about that course, because that is a new course that we've never been on. And where is it, and what do you like about it?
It's out in Front Royal area.
Okay.
It's one exit past. Well, actually, you can take the same exit that you do for Blue Ridge Shadows.
Okay. Yeah.
Exit 6, but you turn at the red light before, and you go another few miles west of that. But the terrain is a lot of undulation, and unfortunately, they had aerated greens about 3 weeks prior, and they hadn't completely closed. But aside from that, reading the greens and the slope, just when you think it's going to break one way, it went the other way, and you're just like, okay, that shouldn't have happened. and it's just the gotchas when okay, there's the hidden little ravine marsh to the right that you couldn't see because there's a lot of blind shots.
Okay.
So when you have the blind shots, they're like, but all in all, they're like, okay, the fairways were decent shape. The grass was taken. The rough was a little bit thicker, and it was hard to get out of in some cases. But people just struggle with putting at the end.
Chris, I'm looking at you.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. I mean, my putting came around after, what was it? Black Rock, when we did that one, because putting's been my strength throughout what I've done because I can save my round that way. But man, I was 3-putting that day like crazy. And so I redeemed myself, did a practice round at Bull Run, and And Sly Fox, okay, no more than 2-putt. Got it. Cool. We're good. We're getting it back again. But when parts of your game go off, it just drives you nuts sometimes.
Yep. Well, what about Brayton Bay? What's that course like?
Breton Bay is going to be June 19th and 20th. That one is like links at Perry Cabin. They're both a lot of water around the course. So I wanted to give people a challenge for the 2-day. It's a
Okay.
private club down by Pax River, Dahlgren area.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So Breton Bay, we're looking forward to. It's a challenge from what everybody said, and they just have to keep it dry. That's the biggest thing.
That's always a key.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be the wake-up call for everybody, because our season-ending championship kind of thing is a 2-day at Links at Perry Cabin over by St. Michael's. Like you go towards Queenstown Harbor,
Yeah.
go south, hit St. Michael's, and if you look on the website, island green water.
Yeah.
You got a fairway that ends in a green that sticks out in the water. So if you're long, it's like Atlantic Dunes number 9, I
Okay.
believe. But
Yeah.
the green sticks out even more in the water than what Atlantic Dunes does.
Huh.
So but it's so pristine, and using some of the sponsorship and some of the other funds from throughout the year to help defray the costs on that, because otherwise I'd be charging people $500 for the 2 days.
Wow.
Well, it's a good price at $385 right now. I mean,
Yep.
You talk about the prices in DC going up. I mean, but you got some really good deals, like Locust Hill for $99. That's a steal. Stoneleaf for
I'm
$115
trying to
steal.
get it so that people can afford to
Yeah.
maybe come into the senior,
Yeah.
because retirees, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm already dipping into a little bit in the investments, because I'm not eligible for Social Security or anything.
That's because you got to retire. I mean, you have to stop working.
I stopped working, but I'm not old enough. I'm still a young pup, so to speak.
Okay.
Almost. Even though the gray hair doesn't tell you much. At least I have hair still.
That's
My
that's a
cousin
good thing.
lost his hair at 29.
Oh my
Jeez.
Oh my God.
I'm probably one of the only guys in my family chain that still has hair. I'm lucky.
You are lucky. You are lucky. Well, Dave, I appreciate everything that you do. Your service, your friendship. I love what you're doing with the senior guys. Thanks so much for joining us, and to everybody down there. We're up there. I say hi.
Will do.
But you take care. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Tim.
Let's take a break from the show to hear about Strixon's ZX Mark II irons.
A great iron set needs more than good looks. It's gotta be fast and gotta be pure. But good looks never hurt either. The all-new ZX Mark II irons from Strixon.
Chris, I'm really glad we got to have Dave on. He's much more modest than than what he was. Some of the things that he's done. He's one of the types. He's one of the people that, if he told you some of the things, he'd have to kill you. With his security clearances and some of the things he's worked on, some of the things he knows,
Right.
and some of the things he's been involved in. That's the kind of level that he's at, working in the Pentagon last 10 years, some of those types of things. But obviously, great guy, down to earth. You could tell that his whole persona is about service.
Right.
So, and he's doing a great job in DC tour for the seniors. It's a tough market right now, with courses and prices, but he's doing a really good job.
Yeah, I mean, he's traveled the world.
Yeah.
Bringing up that story with the signing for the Cold War. I can imagine other
Mhm.
stories that he has that he can't even talk
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, like we talked, everybody's. It seems like golf is getting more expensive because the
Yeah.
popularity is getting up there.
Mhm.
So everybody around the country's feeling it. But from what I was looking at, he's done a really good job with what he's got, and I mean, he can just keep getting it better and better every event.
Yeah. But think about this. Have we ever had an episode where 2 people have lived in Hawaii on the same episode?
Right. That was pretty
Or that.
cool.
Got it?
I mean, especially with all the veterans and military guys that we have had on here. I don't
Yeah.
think we've had one episode. And
Yeah.
for all our listeners, it wasn't planned.
Nah.
We don't know where these guys have gone or where they've served, and
Right.
to have two there, and I mean, it wasn't just like, oh, I stopped there to refuel.
Mhm.
Like they were there for a good while, so that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, but both our guests, great stories, um, both retired military, it's you know, I've told you before, May is my favorite month, doing this,
Right.
because it's, we're focusing on our veterans and, we've got, Memorial Day, um, Memorial Day is coming up, uh, next week and, um where we're talking to veterans, we have to remember that Memorial Day isn't about veterans. It's about
Right.
those that actually, gave that ultimate sacrifice, and, um, so while everybody's out, hanging out with their families, going to the beach, having cookouts, playing golf, whatever it is, let's make sure we take a moment to remember and honor those that have given us, all that we have.
For sure. I mean, it's a big deal. And I think sometimes it gets forgotten. I
Yeah,
know last year when we did American Dunes, it makes you remember, or maybe sometimes some people even learn the sacrifice that people make for us.
yeah.
So since then, it's been a bigger, how do I say this? A bigger part of my life to at least remember, everybody that's given, like you said, given the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah, yeah. So, thank you to all our veterans. Thank you to all our active duty. We really do appreciate what you do for the country, and glad you're with us with the tour.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
But we've got. I mentioned in the opening we had 12 nominees for the April Member of the Month, and as I was looking through, they were they were solid. Dennis had his work cut out for him
Yeah, he
this
did.
time.
Yeah, I mean, we gathered them all up, and there was some good stories, some good nominations. Um, we got to teach Louisiana North to not hold down the all caps when they send in their nominations. But that's neither here nor there. Um, and if she's not listening, she doesn't get the jokes. Too bad. But Dennis took his time. He read over it, and I think, like you said, he had a tough decision to make, but uh I can't wait to see what happens the next couple months with the nominations, because it's getting real heated right now.
It is. So before we announce, the winner, and we'll have him on the, the next episode, but I do want to announce it tonight. But let's just go through and, with so many, we can't read all of the
Right.
nominations like we've done in the past. Um, it's just they're so good. We just don't have that time. So let's just go ahead and go down the list. So Alabama submitted, another strong nomination in Blake Pipkin. Blake Pipkin.
Yeah. California, although we were going from one side of the country to the other, Julian Vo was their nomination.
And then Cleveland Akron was Joe Merkys, Merkys. I hope I said it right, Joe.
Indiana, Western Kentucky, Wayne Fugate.
Fugate.
See, you're gonna get me in trouble with all these names.
He's not
man.
Fugate. He's not Fugazi. He's Fugate.
Wayne Fugate. Thank you.
Now, Louisiana North and is Kevin Odom, and I do want to say something about Kevin real quick. Obviously we had him on, a few weeks ago, and he was really close to winning 3 in a row.
Hell.
That third, I believe he was sick for that third tournament and ended up finishing second place as being sick. But Kevin, close and thank you, Gina, for nominating Kevin out of Louisiana North for the April Member of the Month.
Yep. I mean, that would have been cool to have our first three-peater on here. But we survive to live another day with just us two. Milwaukee, we got Roger Lefebvre.
Roger Lefebvre, yeah, he's awesome. Nashville was Kevin Ingram.
Not was he a football player, Kevin Ingram?
No, not different Kevin Ingram.
Right. New York Upstate. Oh goodness. Joni Resto.
Okay. North Central Florida was Michael Ray.
Yep. St. Louis was Albert Delamarter.
Albert Delamarter, yeah. Awesome guy. I don't want to get this wrong. I'm not sure if he's still serving, or he's a veteran. He may still be on active duty. Let's just put it that way. So Albert, thank you so much for your service, buddy. And then Tidewater was Richard De Jesus. So another strong nominee from the Tidewater Tour. So thank you all, tour directors, for your nominations. Thank you, guys, for doing what you do for the tour. But the April Member of the Month that came out of the Charleston Tour, that was Mike Cobb. So Mike Cobb, congratulations, and we'll get you scheduled on the next episode.
Yeah,
and we'll read the winning nomination at that point, and hopefully get tour director Tim Sumption on with that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, it's getting down to nitty gritty, honestly, with all the nominations. But I mean, there's just some points on here that's just kind of stands out. And congratulations, Mike. Can't wait to talk to you about it.
It's gonna be great. So make sure everybody gets your nominations in for May. Remember, they're due by June 5th. So let's get them in, and let's make this work a little bit. I mean, let's see if we can get 20 nominations and make Dennis work a little bit to do this. But thank you so much. Great nominations. And hopefully we'll get Mike on next episode.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have him really think about who he's gonna pick.
So, yeah. So last episode, we finally put the Stu subs to bed, and I told you Jen took the shirt home, but I got the shirt here with me. Okay, so we got a nice Stu sub shirt.
That's a cool shirt. I'd rock that shirt.
No, this is actually, I looked at it, it's a kid size shirt. It'd be like an extra medium on you, but we'll figure something out. We do have to figure out a contest to something for Stu subs.
Yeah,
they're the
I
best.
just want a Stu sub. That's all I want now. Every time we bring it up, I just get really excited, and I don't have one in town, so
you don't.
It's very depressing.
I mean, you gotta. There's only one way to get Stu subs. Only one way.
I know. But if I have it every day in Hilton Head, I'm gonna make the overweight scale on the flight home.
What are you trying to say?
Because I could have like 2 a sitting times twice a day. Why don't we have Stu Subs cater nationals? Might as well do that now.
Oh boy, here we go.
Yep, I'm just can
So
of worms.
so
Can of
so
worms. Just
so you know what's gonna end up happening, okay? Dennis is gonna send that over to Jennifer, and she's gonna be mad at me. I appreciate
fine.
that.
That's fine.
Look, I'm trying everything I can to not cause any problems with them. I mean, they've got dude, they've got so much going on. You know, I feel bad for them, and I mean, they're really going through it right now. So, seriously, I try to no problems, no problems. But they'll get through it. And look when everybody comes to nationals in October, make sure you, instead of Dennis buying you a beer, make sure you buy Dennis a beer.
I'm pretty sure there'll be plenty of beers out there.
I think so.
And whiskey.
Well,
And wine.
And cigars. I mean, well, we don't want to talk about that too much, right?
Yeah, that's the Masters Green Jacket Club. Only a few get in.
Well, you had the Beat the Heat had a little bit of weather up there this time.
We did. We saw rain, we saw wind, we saw sun, we saw a little bit of hail. Just a little.
Okay.
But hey, man, unless it's course issues or it's lightning, we're gonna play, and we played, and crazy enough, in the rain we saw 5 under par scores in our champ flight. That course we saw some deer on the course. We saw some elk on the course.
Nice.
I had stories of elk taking golf balls off the green and just walking off with them. Pretty cool. Fun time.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I saw on the Sunday course, I saw a hawk chase a little bird in the sky. Felt bad for the little bird, but I don't think he made it.
Hey, it's a circle of life, man.
Oh, that hawk was chasing him for a while.
It's like
Poor guy.
Like a Stu Sub, man.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, it was a good time. It was a good time. Yeah. Almost had 5 playoffs, which would have been crazy.
That's nuts. And if you had weather coming in, what would you have done?
They still would have played? I don't care.
Better get out there.
I'm not doing no putting contest. Let's go.
No, let's go. We're gonna wait. All right.
Go back to 18 and we'll just cheer while you're trying to putt and see how you can deal with that pressure.
See?
But no, it was good. It was, my guys gave a special moment. It was my oldest 13th birthday that Sunday.
Wow.
So we brought cake and the guy sang him happy birthday, and he really enjoyed that. Like, it's,
I'm sure.
When we run these tours or we play on these tours, sometimes it's hard to miss moments like that.
Yeah.
So being able to take them, out of town and just rent a cabin and have a good time, and then be able to do that with the members is, he'll remember that for a while.
Yeah. Good for him. Glad they enjoyed it.
He'll probably remember the cake more than the singing. But
hey, I like cake too, so I'd probably remember cake too. Anyway, it is what it is. What else you got going on?
Nothing much, man. Just getting ready. July, you might be by yourself for an episode.
Okay.
I'll be going to Hawaii. So
yeah.
Unless we can figure out something, unless you want to figure out something with a 6-hour time zone difference.
No.
Maybe. Here's an idea. Here's an idea. From now until mid-July, if somebody wins 3 in a row, they can be your co-host for that episode.
Oh boy.
I threw it out there. You better hope and pray.
We'll see. I actually do have a couple ideas, depending on how long you're gone. But I don't want to announce it yet because I haven't talked to you about it, haven't talked to them about it.
We'll talk. I'll only be gone for 12 days.
So is it just you and your wife, or is it the whole family?
As of right now, it's me, my wife, and the boys.
Okay.
We're celebrating both are, my oldest being 13, my youngest is now double digits, which is kind of scary. And then me and my wife are celebrating our 15th wedding anniversary.
That's pretty awesome.
So, just,
Yeah,
couple.
See, I thought it was a wedding anniversary trip, and maybe it's just gonna be the two of you, because you guys need to get away.
No, we, I
take-
mean, we have plans.
Okay.
The resort we're staying at might have a kids zone that they can go to, and we'll just hang out and figure something out. But
Kid jail.
we do travel a lot together without the boys as well throughout the year.
Okay. Because you got to take care of her. I mean, she lets you do all this other stuff. So
Right. It is what it is. But I mean, Jen also.
well, I make her sign out my charging block. So I mean,
I saw that. Like a librarian over here with your matching outfits.
Well, that's true. It's true.
We gotta put a picture of that in the show notes.
No, we're not doing that. Shoot, dude, are you kidding me?
I tried.
See, you know how mad she'd be? Do you have any idea how mad she would be if I took a picture of her and didn't tell her and put it up on the show notes? Yeah, I mean, could you imagine?
Well, you would tell her.
No, I wouldn't. Again, I'm trying to stay out of trouble.
Right.
I want to be good. I want to be good.
Right.
You know.
Anyways. I'm the troublemaker here, I guess.
It is what it is. Man. I think that's all we got. I think that's all we got.
Well, once this airs, man, we're almost halfway through the year.
Yeah.
And I think we're at the point now where every tour is in full swing, even the ones way up north.
Yeah, they're all playing. Yeah. We got to get Roger on. I don't want to give it away, but there was something happened this past weekend from a rules thing that was we were copied on it, and
Right.
kind of bizarre. So hopefully we can get Roger on. If not the next episode, the one after that, because number one, it's been a while to have him on. But I do want to talk to him about that and get. I know how I would handle it, but I would be interested to see what the official USGA is going to say.
Yeah, I think that, with that situation, I think it's a good conversation to have.
Yeah.
For players and directors.
Yeah.
Not giving anything away, but it will be a good conversation that you don't want to miss in the next coming episodes.
Exactly. Got a bunch of regionals coming up at the end of the month. Let's put it this way: if you haven't gotten in, signed up for some of them already, that's coming up at the end of the month, you're too late.
Too late.
I mean,
Yep.
But so you got Memorial Day PGA West, you got Treasure Coast at the Wanamaker and Die courses in Port St. Lucie, Cajun Classic, and then the Sunshine State Regional at Cabot Citrus Farms. Get on it, and then middle of June, Low Country Regional at Fripp. You heard Jamal talk about that. That's a great place, honestly. And you got the Midwest Regional at Big Cedar through the end of June, and then we're getting down to it, bud.
Yeah. Okay. Before you know it, we'll be seeing each other at in Arizona, or we'll be seeing each other at Nationals.
Yeah, let's hope so. Hopefully Arizona. I'd like to,
We'll make it work.
like to get Arizona to work. Also like to get Cabot Citrus Farms to work, but I'm not sure that at this stage that's going to happen.
Yeah, that's a little close.
It's kind of close.
But also remember, everybody, we have our raffle for the irons.
Irons, yes. All you got to do is it's not like you're giving me the money. I mean, I'll take it, but Venmo me at Tim NATC. Tim NATC. Just send me Venmo. Once we hit, what we say?
100 entries now.
Yeah, I think it was 100 entries, $10 pop.
Mm-hmm.
We will raffle them off live on air in the old Wheel of Names.
There we go.
How about that?
I'm not gonna spoil it now, but I'm working on getting a big promotion with the Western States. And if a winner
Okay.
comes out of the Western States, there's gonna be a nice prize for that. So get ready, because it might kick up real soon.
Okay. Let's do it. You announce that next time?
I'm gonna announce that next time. Yep.
Awesome. Lots of big announcements coming up.
It's like a
My friend.
pregnancy gender reveal.
See, I don't understand that stuff, man. I know. Whatever, man. I just roll along. Yeah, but the funny thing is, neither one of my kids were into that either.
Well, I mean, when did they have their kids?
So my youngest will be 1 in July 7th.
Okay, then maybe, yeah. I was gonna say they're like older. I don't think it was a thing back
No,
then.
no. And then, my oldest just turned 5. That's why,
Yeah, I can see that. I'll allow that comment.
allow it.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't understand it, but I just do what as grandfather. I just do whatever. You tell me what to do, and that's what I do. You know how it is. Again, I'm trying to stay out of
Well,
trouble.
I don't know how it is, but I can't wait.
All you gotta do is just stay out of trouble. Just do whatever Diane tells you to do. Just do it.
I try my best. That's all I can say.
Oh my goodness! All right, my friend. Good luck. Have fun.
Yep. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. Best to everybody. Make sure you tell Diane I said Happy Mother's Day.
Likewise.
And
We
and
gotta
tell
say
your tell your son I said happy birthday. I don't want
Will
him
do,
mad at me
brother.
either. All right, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, later.
See ya. All right, that's a wrap for this week's episode. But Chris, after all this time, you would think we would remember this stuff.
We forgot to tell people how to register, didn't we?
Yep. Take it away.
Well, if you're not already part of the Golfweek Amateur Tour, what are you waiting for? Grab your clubs, join the fun, and see what competitive golf is all about. You can sign up today and start meeting some incredible folks who love the game as much as you do.
All you need to do is go to amateurgolftour.net, click the Join the Tour button, and pay your local tour's membership dues.
And hey, don't forget, if you're enjoying the podcast, you can catch us on all of the major podcast platforms. Be sure to download, share it with your golf buddies, and throw us a quick review if you're feeling the love. It helps us keep bringing you the good stuff and reaching even more golfers out there. Thanks for hanging with us, and until next time, keep swinging and having fun out there.
We'll see you next time. Take care.